3, 2, 1, go. I'm Pat.
I'm Will.
Yeah, I'm Jeffrey.
We're back with William.
Yeah.
I'm working Will.
Working well. Will can art again.
I'm gonna art again. I'm on the clock. It's fantastic. I love double timing things.
Like the double time I sleep
I don't
and work.
Well, that's outstanding. That was an all Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Those were great favorite days.
Yeah, that was my argument. Anytime that you could get paid to be
Doing anything
sleeping on the
else.
clock.
Oh, shit, yeah. I didn't watch any football today. I was sleeping. So
You slept the whole day?
I got up for a little bit, and I totally spaced that football was on, and then, because I couldn't sleep last night, so I got up at, 6, so this morning. Yeah, which is unheard of for me.
That's when I got to go to bed.
And so I played Starfield for 4 or 5 hours, and I went back to bed. It didn't even occur to me that football was on today.
If you had watched,
What would I have noticed about today?
you might have done what Jeff did and turned off the game because the Bears were up 28-7 on the Broncos.
Ouch.
Justin Fields looked like an all-pro quarterback. There were guys just wide open. And then somehow the Broncos came back to win.
What? Oh,
I don't know how. Well, one of them, they got a fumble return for a touchdown. But,
fumble.
yeah. And then the offense was fine and all that. And then the Bears coach with 3 minutes left on a 4th and 1 at their 25, so they were easy field goal range. It was tied up. He's like, "We're gonna go for it," and he got stopped.
Yeah,
And then we just went right down and kicked the field goal.
nice.
So
Someone had some explaining to do.
I didn't listen to his answers. I'm sure they're pretty epically dumb.
Lame.
Yeah.
No, what about last week's game? What happened there?
What happened to the last week? Yeah, with their, what is it, 90-20 loss or 70-20 loss?
That was
How
a
that-
scared.
what did they say? Yeah.
I still wish they would have fired their D coordinator. I wish they never hired him because he already failed with us before.
Who is it?
Vance Joseph.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
on the team?
Yeah,
He's
back.
they
Yeah.
brought him back as our defensive coordinator, even though the last 2 years with Arizona as their defensive coordinator, he was terrible.
Some things appear to not changed.
So you bring a guy in that was terrible at his job in a city that he was terrible at, and you're like, yeah, let's go at that.
Is he like a son-in-law to somebody that works here? Or
Not that I'm aware
Yeah, the
of.
Bolins don't run it anymore. It's not, like the fucking Trump family here, man.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
You know?
Well, Coach Payton did all the hiring, and I can't see their families being entwined in any way. But
Yeah, no,
I
no.
suppose it's possible. But I don't understand it. They got some pressure on. They did some good things, but it's the Bears. They're
right,
terrible.
right.
They were imploding. Their defensive coordinator quit on the same time as because Fields was just saying, they asked him why is he playing so robotic? He's like, yeah, it's the coaching.
Okay.
It's the management.
And then he's like, I think I'm gonna go out and play like I used to play and just do whatever I want. And it's like, what? Yeah, they're a total train wreck, and they made him look like all world everything. And then all of a sudden, the second half, I still don't even. I was already committed to. We can get the number 1 pick.
Wow.
won that game
Yeah.
pretty quickly, yeah.
Well, when you give up 70 points 1 week,
I thought we were so far down on picks that we couldn't get a number one.
we finally get ours again.
Okay,
We're
all right.
finally back to normal draft board.
Okay, all right.
And so the Bears are in line for the number 1 pick. So if we lost to the Bears,
Oh,
I was like, all right, let's fold it. Nuggets are going to start soon. I can watch other football. We're going for the number 1 pick. I'm
Sure.
rooting for losses.
it's almost postseason baseball too, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hockey
This
started.
was it,
Hockey
wasn't
started.
it?
Yeah.
Hockey started, yep.
Today was
This
the
week,
final Today was the final games, right?
Today? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
So it's all.
Today was the final game?
Yeah. Playoffs start probably what, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that.
Something like that. Playoffs.
So who do you cheer for when your team's not in?
Oh, I don't know, man. So I'll have to take a look. I know the Orioles are in. So Boston's not in. Otherwise, I'd usually root for whoever comes out of the AL East.
You cheer for them?
Sure. Yeah. I'm not.
No
yeah, no, I totally
way.
do, man. So if they make it to the postseason, and they were able to knock us out, then okay, you made our team better.
Dude,
I know,
no
man.
way. I
Yeah.
could never do that.
Everybody says that, man, but
Oh,
I'm very. It's my Game of Thrones fandom, man. So I have to bend the knee.
oh, wow.
They have conquered my division, so.
Oh, no.
So I think Orioles are on top.
They were.
Yeah. And I don't
Oh,
really
well,
mind.
actually, yeah. Them and the Rays were right there. Huh?
Dude,
The Rays were pretty close.
Just know that everybody except for Boston and New York made the playoffs.
Did
Did
they?
Toronto?
Yeah, they
Did
were
they make the wild
squeaking.
card?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Everybody except New York and Boston made the playoffs. So there you go.
Yeah, so the divisional championship will be interesting there. And then I don't know. And then like on the West, yeah, I can root for the Dodgers, so I don't really care.
With 6 teams going, do they give 2 teams a bye?
Mhm.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that's how it actually went or not for them now.
It's disgraceful.
What, a bye?
No,
Oh.
the performance of what should be the 2 premier teams of that division.
Hey man, they spend too much money, man.
That's
The
never
fans
going to
just, yeah,
stop.
the fans just keep giving it to them. Actually, I mean, there was a surprising team that was actually ahead on that this year. I can't remember who it was.
For spending?
Yeah, it's
Dodgers?
not. I think it might
or
be the Dodgers.
Padres?
It might be the Padres.
Padres spent a bunch, but didn't San Francisco?
It might be the Giants. I can't remember.
I think the
Yeah.
Padres got them beat.
I think you're right. I think it was surprising how much money.
Padres, well, the Dodgers, they spent insane too.
Well, they've
I don't
always
know.
been a big market
Yeah.
team, man. So yeah.
The Mets were way up there.
The Mets were high.
They
That's who it was. It was the
exploded.
Mets. The Mets actually spent more than the Yankees this year, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Just complete meltdown.
Complete meltdown because you get 2 pitchers who hate each other.
That's baseball, dude. That's what I love about this game is sometimes there is some bullshit that happens like this. I mean, like it just totally throws off the chemistry. Fucking, they got me today because Wakefield died today.
What?
Mike Wakefield died?
Tim Wakefield,
Tim Wakefield died? Yeah.
From what?
I didn't,
Yeah,
but he was 57.
Yeah, I'm like, he shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
It's not like he
bad.
threw hard either.
Yeah.
Look,
sure, yeah.
all right.
His arm didn't fall off.
Yeah. You don't need Tommy John, man. You're fine. You're fine.
That guy was soft tossed his whole career. So.
I can say that he probably had some serious problems with these joints. It's an early arthritis.
I could never open a can of soda again.
No, you can just rip it off.
They're
It's
stuck
you get
in
a
it.
club hand. Yeah.
He's got one of those fucking strap things that our mothers have to open jars and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he has to open a can of pop
Get
with
a
the can
fucking oil
opener.
filter off his car.
Yeah, dead at 57, man.
I always felt like he was like Mr. No Stress. Just because the way
I
he
don't
cleared
know.
it was
Well-
like, meh,
Yeah.
here it goes. Meh, here it goes.
Look, I get it, but I mean, it's the most difficult pitch
I-
to throw.
I
but-
understand that, but just how it looks, it's like, meh.
No, it's
There it goes.
It's the first time you see a knuckleballer, you're like, "Are you trying?"
Yeah.
You're like, because especially if I don't know, go back a few years, you're like, look at how much effort goes into every single one of Dontrell Willis's pitches, right? Where he's got this 10-step wind up and the leg flies out and he's throwing heaters, and then you got this dude that's just. It's like he's playing with his 6-year-old
Yeah.
son. Yeah, he's like, I can't throw these too hard; they get by him. Yeah.
When we went to the Rockies game,
Yeah.
the Giants had a pitcher that was a submariner. And
Holy shit! Oh,
I
that's
told Nikki, I was
a
like,
long
"Oh,
time,
dude,
yeah.
a submariner." She's like, "What?" I'm like, dude, you gotta watch this guy. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, his
Pitching,
hand
man.
was
Yeah,
like
Halo, yeah.
6 inches off the
Yeah.
ground, man. I was like, oh man, he really goes down too.
There's that baseball channel on YouTube that I watch that kind of goes into like what's going on in the league at any given week or something like that. And
What is it? I would love to.
I'll see if I can dig it up. It's like baseball does not exist or something like that. So they do like these 25, 30-minute kind of like rundowns on, not like, all these guys are up and these guys are down kind of thing, but it's like, this is the new hot pitch. So this is
cool.
It is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah.
These are how people are reacting to the rules. This is how A-Rod cheats. So yeah.
So long ago.
I know, but they actually did a pretty good job of breaking down like a lot of the cheating scandals. But they were talking, I think it was a few weeks ago, they were talking about like the weird pitches were kind of coming back with the new system because it's not the same, as it was before. Because yeah, and so they were predicting that you're going to see more knuckleballers, you're going to see more submariners, and yeah, all kinds of stuff.
I love that. I actually
I love it
that
too.
about
Or side
baseball,
pitching. Yeah, you're going to see a lot more of the sling pitching. So yeah,
What's your guys' take on whether the steroid guys should be in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I don't really care about it. I mean, they've already been asterisks, and we all know who they are. I mean, but then if they don't let Pete Rose in, that's kind of bullshit. And so, Yeah, 'cause-
bet on your team, man.
I
I mean,
get
he
it.
never bet on him to lose.
Right,
which is
he did
kind
it
of
shoeless Joe Jackson. It,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
That to me, that does make a difference.
It does because
yeah.
you're coaching the same way you would have. Well, I don't know. Maybe
As a
you
matter of
coach
fact,
little
you
harder.
actually like, come on, guys.
I'm definitely pulling for my team a little harder when I got some cheddar on it.
And I don't know. There's a couple. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Kind of juicing your own stats, man. Yeah.
there's when the team's up, the spread was 3, and your team wins by 2. You're like, yay! You guys really couldn't have gotten another point out there.
Well, was he just betting to win straight, or was he playing the?
Baseball doesn't really have
They don't really have a
a
spread.
spread.
Yeah.
Like they do, yeah.
So, I mean, you can do the 1.5 line where you have to win by more than 1 run, but that's
That's
as
it. And
far
has
as
it
the
been?
spread
I
goes.
presume that's been that way since he was in that.
I don't think baseball's ever had a different way of betting on it.
It should, not to my knowledge, but I don't know from back then. And back then, like he would have had to know a guy, yeah.
Well,
Oh, you had a bookie.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's no.
legalized betting
Yeah,
like it is
there's
now.
no.
Yeah, no. So
I don't think he'd have a problem finding someone who was willing to take his bet.
No. But I just don't know if they
probably
played
sat
by
in the
different
clubhouse with him.
rules. Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
probably one of his guys. Yeah, yeah. It
Well, I
was
mean, they've
fine.
had Vegas sports betting for decades, so yeah, it's like well established. But
But I guess, all right, so if you're going to talk about like the steroid era, right? I don't want to hold the players accountable for something that the league was clearly turning
Yeah.
a blind eye to.
They saved baseball.
yeah,
So if you want to just basically mark the era, I don't have a problem with that. It's kind of like, dude, there was a steroid era in football.
I'm not
Right.
happy about the 3 guys who lied in front of Congress, though, man. And so
See,
that's going a
on them.
little far.
That's on them,
yeah, exactly.
right?
So
that's
I mean,
a different story.
if you're gonna let Jason Giambi in, that's okay, fine, all right. So he was upfront about it. He was like, yeah, everybody's doing it. I was doing it, So, and the same thing's true with like I don't think Barry Bonds actually ever.
I don't think he ever said it.
I don't think he ever said shit about it. So, but Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa
Rafael Palmeiro.
and Palmeiro, yeah, come on, man. Yeah, no, you don't do that. So,
I agree, but again, it's the same thing that came into play with the Tour de France was.
yeah,
One guy was doping, but evidently
Everybody was doing it. Everybody knew
you
about
mark
it.
the era.
yeah, but he was the guy who was like emphatic about like, no, this is totally not happening, and I didn't do blah blah blah. He just went on the attack, and so.
Because nobody else was winning.
Well, yeah, exactly. So,
So
but
they're
I mean,
gonna get
so
stuff
from what I understand, it was always like 1, 2, and 3 were like so close, But then he got up here, so at a certain level where everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And then they all figured it out, and they all started doing it. So yeah. Whereas like there was a couple, this channel did a couple things on some of the doping scandals, and then particularly they did the A-Rod was a huge one. So there was another one too, though.
There were quite a few.
There was a lot.
No, I know there was a lot, but there was one
Big
guy
Poppy
who
got busted for it twice.
it was Big Poppy because
He got busted
they
for it
talked
twice.
about it.
2 championship years.
Yeah, no, they talked about him in particular because
Everybody still loves him.
well, everybody still loves him, but he also had this thing where he was like, "Hey, man, I was just doing what my doctor told me to," kind of thing. It's like I was getting injections, and they called them vitamins, kind of thing.
That I can actually believe.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, and then there were a couple other guys who used that story too. So
Of course, I mean, then there's that other side. It's like, well, so they sell like Flintstones chewables, right?
yeah,
Why do you need to get your vitamins like this?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
want the pure vitamins.
Look, again, the same guy, if they told him, is like, yeah, I'm just going to give you vitamin shots, right? I'd believe it. Because I guess that's the thing, is if you can't, I presume this came from the team doctor, yeah?
In some cases, yeah, but there was actually a couple guys who were kind of cruising around the league, who were like trainers that,
Yeah.
they weren't attached to a particular team, but they'd be like, "Hey, man, I got a guy, so this guy's great, so give him a call," kind of thing. Yeah,
I don't think it would have been the official trainer.
I think you're probably right.
I don't think so.
I mean, but I guess
They
that's the...
went and made rules later on saying, if it's not from your team and you put it in your body, I don't care who tells you to, you're accountable. So
Right.
whatever it is, yeah. So I don't think, but also, damn, everyone was doing it then. Maybe they did.
That's my
Some
problem.
were and some
Yeah.
weren't,
Yeah.
but I mean, and the thing is the guys who weren't doing it and were still kicking ass were kind of like gods. So at the time, they talked about
Jeter.
Jeter was one of them, although Jeter's not quite as spotless as people think he is. So, I mean, he's not filthy like
What
A
are
Rod.
his spots?
Oh, just like he and A Rod had this thing going on for a little while. I don't think he's ever been actually caught doing anything. But there's like, okay, so there's ways to get around this. There's a timing system that you can use. So there was some speculation about that on Derek Jeter, and then apparently he can be an asshole too. So, but then who was the huge pitcher?
Not really.
Randy Johnson? No, he was 100%
Oh,
clean, and he
okay.
was a fucking machine.
He was
So,
scary.
yeah, he
Oh,
was
man.
scary.
Like 6'6".
He was
Yeah.
like 6'6".
So, I mean, when it
So-
comes down to momentum and, like, mechanics, yeah. Well, no.
My understanding is just like pure athleticism. The guy was hard to beat. And so,
Well, that too, but I mean, it's a physics game. I mean, that is a huge advantage, and it suits the way that he pitched, right? Versus, say, like Clemens, who
Oh, yeah.
was on the dope.
that's true. He was. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, in the Rockies game, they showed highlights of Larry Walker, and they did the All-Star game where he put his batting hat on backwards and walked to the right side of the plate. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
No.
So yeah, he's lefty and Randy Johnson's lefty, and it just came in like the first one came in up high, and he was just like, "Fuck this!" and he just turned his batting cap around backwards and batted from the right side. He's like, "All right, we're good." So
I just didn't want to get murdered.
yeah, he's like, "Nah." So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think Kurt Schilling said something stupid again recently, but that's just sort of
It's,
yeah,
it's called Friday.
yeah.
Any given.
You can always find something about Muslims to rag on,
Right.
and I'm sure he did.
Speaking of bad radio, so I was coming over a little earlier today, and actually NPR was on. This American Life, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had forgotten about the vocal fry.
I
I was like, wow, you're still on the radio.
it was funny that you say that because I know that's your tick.
Oh, yeah.
I again, I have my last student. She lives in San Francisco, and it just came up, and I explained what that phenomenon was, and she's like, "That's what that is."
That's the thing.
It's like
Yeah.
all the girls speak like this. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what? The girls speak like something?
Yeah, when you hang syllables in the air, it's called vocal fry.
Well, it's also you have to work at it from the low register.
Right.
Girls are speaking like this?
Yeah, boys. It's not really a boy thing.
Really?
It's a California girl thing. It has been for a long time. I mean, that's like Lumpy Space Princess Shaw.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's how that's how what's
Clueless?
her name?
Yes.
Well, not
No,
really
'cause I
clueless.
was
One
like,
of her friends.
No,
One of her friends was. So
Like the
Was-
whatever?
whatever.
no, that's
Yeah.
different.
That's totally different. Okay.
No, this is okay. So I want you to think about this. So if you think about how Raven from Teen Titans used to talk,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's exactly it. It's
Yeah,
where
there
you
you go.
hang on that low register, and that's where the
okay.
fry part comes in.
All right.
Guys do that if they're metal singers.
Okay.
Because you run a scream through that register.
Right.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because you can't if you sing through the high register with that,
Rip your throat apart.
no, you're
Oh.
at that point you're doing opera.
Oh.
It's not metal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's the difference between like screaming and actually singing.
Sadly unmental.
And I'm not shitting on like that metal sound. It's fine if you like it, but that's how you have to do it.
Okay.
That's where you get the gravel from. Otherwise, you're Rush.
Oh. I'm glad I don't ever hear that anymore.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that
I've
too.
made that patently clear, and it's not from lack of trying. I've had a number of very musical acquaintances and friends that say like, "No, this is fantastic."
Okay, since you just said Rush, have you ever heard the Rush E song?
What is
No.
that?
Okay, it's another YouTube thing. The kids, it's like this insane piano playing thing that, like, just goes absolutely bonkers. And then yeah, it's called Rush E.
I have no idea.
Okay,
No.
so that's another thing you can check out if you wanted to someday.
I
And you
mean-
probably never will. Since I
No.
I'm sorry if you want any suggestion that my
if
kids
it crosses
might.
my path, no, because you showed me that retarded shit from before, and I'm like, you're wasting my time. I can't believe you.
It's a half an hour. Get through all of it. You're good.
I don't need to. No, this is the same shit. Is like when people tell me, "Nah, man, you have to." If you can say like, "Skip this," all right, that's a little bit better. But when people say like, "No, you have to watch all 7 of these before
We
it starts
covered
to
it.
get,"
You should have skipped the first 10 or so. 10, 15, and then you would have been fine. So it was my bad instruction.
You're fine. You're fine. No, there's a series of videos that I do like when they show, like if there's a movie where somebody's playing the piano or like somebody, like a cartoon is playing the drums. I like the ones where an actual musician will come out there, look at what they're doing and say, well, here's what they're actually playing.
Oh, just by looking at the figures?
And it sounds like absolute dog shit. It's like, here's what the soundtrack shows.
No, I
This
haven't
is what they're
seen
actually
that, yeah.
playing. Do, do, do.
All right, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. God, okay, so that's sports. The current like political hubbub that I'm kind of at a loss for is, did you guys see the fire alarm scandal?
No.
Okay, all right, hold on. All right, I have to give this in context. All right, so give me just 1 second, you guys.
I'm definitely tuning out much more of the politics now that all sports are fully starting to get in the swing of things. So,
Is that so?
oh yeah, now it's sports talk radio for like everything now. So
Yeah.
I'm I guess the government didn't shut down.
No, and this was
God
this
damn it,
was
getting close.
part of that was I don't remember the specific reason why, but they were trying to stall out on a vote. the Democrat side.
Did someone try and pull a fire alarm in Congress?
Why? He did.
He did.
So
Was it to try and extend the, or
Yeah.
to make the lockdown happen?
yes. So
Make what locked? What do you mean lockdown?
The government lockdown.
Oh, the shutdown.
Shutdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shutdown.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah.
Why
So
would the Democrats didn't want to do that?
they did. They
Why?
didn't. Well, because as of right now, here's the thing: is they want to hang this on Republicans.
Yeah, but I mean that always happens whenever you shut down the government. It's a landmine that says this way towards enemy, but it actually lies to you.
Well, that's the thing is, according, and this was
Fast
something.
Mitt Romney cost him an election.
Well, and this was the funny thing was that and this was CNN's data, right? All their polling showed that they don't blame the Republicans for this shutdown.
Who are they blaming?
They're blaming Democrats. They're blaming
Who is blaming who?
The people.
the people. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Well, it
So-
didn't happen. So,
Well, no, it didn't. And what happened there was Jamal Bowman.
who's that?
I don't know.
I didn't know who he was until he did this, but okay,
Oh, is he the fire alarm guy?
he is the fire alarm guy who said
Is he a
that
senator?
yeah, he's a congressman.
No way.
Yeah, yeah, he's in the House.
It'd be funnier if it was like an intern.
You think that would
there
you
you go.
use?
Okay,
All right, go ahead.
You
Go
have
ahead.
to see where this goes. It's
Sure.
like they have video of him doing it, right? And he's basically just got his hand on the thing like this. Now, what he said first after doing this was he said, "Oh, I thought this is how you open the doors."
Right, the red box that says "pull for emergency." Yeah, so
Well, I've never gone through a door before, so you
yeah,
know.
exactly. It's like one of those switches in Fallout, man.
Well, this is why it gets better. Okay, this is why it gets even better. Is previously his job was that he was a high school principal. So he knows exactly what a fire alarm does. And there are signs on the door that say,
Nobody would believe him.
well, and this
Yeah,
is,
no, like
No,
that's stupid if he's trying to pass that off and people are actually believing that.
no, this is even the better part.
Yeah,
is there are signs on this. It's right next to the emergency door.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the emergency door says, if you want to go through this, okay, push this for 3 seconds, then wait.
Okay.
It'll set the alarm off. Then you go.
So it's like a crash bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He said that he didn't understand how the door worked, even
It's
though.
he's totally full of shit. Of course he knows how the door works.
Well, I don't.
Yeah,
Let me
okay.
finish. Man. Let me finish.
You're being accused.
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
This is your story, so
I know. It's like, I said, don't put this on. I'm just explaining what happened.
how the hell can you not read the door?
And then his staff took the signs off the door afterwards to make it look like there was no signage. But there's video of the signage there.
The whole building is recorded,
Yeah,
isn't
of
it?
course,
Like,
yeah.
Yes.
like every corner, practically.
Yes.
And hereupon is the problem, is this is interrupting an official proceeding. Which puts it on what level, guys?
Reason.
Correct. So this is the problem, is this is a guy who has,
Is he Republican or Democrat?
he's a Democrat. In fact, he has a bunch of like anti-Trump tweets of like, no one is above the law. Now the problem here is based on that, he should be charged with the same kind of phony baloney that is going on with the January 6th guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
charge
he's
him.
sticking by his statement that
I'm just dumb.
the sign was confusing and I didn't know what the fire alarm did.
But it didn't interrupt anything, did it?
It did.
What did it interrupt?
The proceedings.
Did they have to evacuate just because the alarm went off?
Yeah, the alarm went off. You have
Oh,
to take it
okay.
seriously.
But they still passed it.
Well,
They get to come back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
It's not as though the fire alarm goes off. It's like, guys, we're done.
I thought.
Just-
Well, no, I thought it was like. I mean, if
know,
you were gonna do that, you do it at like 11:30 at night. So before the thing's actually gonna.
Oh,
pass.
okay,
yeah, 'cause
yeah,
then it
yeah.
actually has to shut down. So,
No, you set off the alarm. You have to.
well, right, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, this is this is politics this week. This is how ghetto it's gotten.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
I'm glad I've tuned out.
Well, they only passed a continuing resolution too, so they're going to do this fight again before the end of the
in
year.
like 45 days or something. I thought I
I
heard.
think it's by December 31st. So
Awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was particularly cute. I thought you guys would like that story. That happened yesterday, or not yesterday, but Friday. Yeah.
was it Friday when they passed that? I thought it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't really watching the news.
Was it yesterday? Saturday. Though?
Yeah.
Yesterday, Saturday. Yeah, they had to get it done by
The
last
first.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So it was yesterday.
the
Yeah,
first,
because
yeah.
I was like, those fools don't work on Saturdays.
When you're putting it off, eventually you have to work overnight. Or
Yeah.
like all of us that have crammed and procrastinated, you keep procrastinating at some point.
Have turned in some papers underneath the doors of my professors at 3:47 in the morning, man. It's happened.
You know,
As soon as they unlock the building, man.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
No, they well, there was something else that was going on with that. What the hell was it? Oh, yeah. We'll see if Kevin McCarthy loses his job. So
There's a chance of that.
there is a chance
Yeah.
of that.
just a speaker.
Well, yeah, they can't like boot him out of the Congress. So they tie him on a
do
rail and
it,
throw him in a
yeah.
river. Yeah. So
Well, yeah, and then of course Dianne Feinstein died.
she did die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll see. Oh man, the conspiracy theories on that one have been thick lately. So
Explain to me
in
because I
Blue
haven't
Twitter, so there's this plot in Blue Twitter that Dark Gavin is going to appoint Kamala Harris back to her seat so that he can get himself appointed as the next vice president. Dun, dun, dun.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, that there's no way. So, I mean, he couldn't do anything more obvious. So, yeah.
But he did say he would appoint a person of color,
He did.
a female person of color.
And there is one that's running that's apparently pretty good. So there's other people who are like, well, just appoint her now. And she's like, no, I'm going to run.
All right.
So, yeah.
Speaking of color theme, can you be racist in a good way, or is racist always bad?
I think it's basically assumed the mantle of pejorative. So, you know.
What would you okay, clarify your definition here. What do you mean racist in a good way?
Like, if you're racist because, like, let's say you think all Mexicans are hard work,
Okay.
is that being racist that you would want to then hire a Mexican because you want a hard worker?
Yes.
But is that bad?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the only reason I say that is because the premise upon which you put that here is based on a stereotype of race.
But even seeing it in a good light
William, you and
would
I
make it.
Yeah, so there's a group of people a long time ago who thought very highly of themselves. And now so they marched around with torches.
what we've discovered, William, here is that making decisions based on statistical data of people of any kind of race has been wrong for a while. Because if you can't use it one way, you can't use it the other way.
Fair. So the fact that he can come out and say, I already know I'm filling this position with a person of color and it's going to be female,
Incredibly disgusting.
is
Yeah.
100% racist.
Disgraceful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
People have been
Yes.
doing that for ages, though. I mean, even fucking Bernie Sanders did that.
But to just announce it, well, like
Yeah, he
Biden
totally
did
did.
it too.
Well, that's because, yeah, Bernie said he would do it, and Biden's like, I'll do it too. So, you know.
Anytime that you basically announce that you have set the
eliminated some of the people
Yep.
on something totally meritless.
that should get you fired.
It should. Agreed.
Yes.
Because
That
if you
should
tried
get
to
you fired
hire
in a second.
anybody in a real job and said that, you'd get fired
Well,
or sued by every white person that was trying to apply.
if it was a small company, it doesn't matter. And so, I mean, you can be racist. You can be exclusionary if you're a small business. I'm going to hire my son over
Yeah.
everybody else. That's fine. And so, you know,
Yeah. And that's small because I mean it's under what 10.
I think it's
employees?
100.
100.
Under
Okay.
You could be racist up to a company that's 100.
Oh fuck yeah! So
Happens all the time.
it happens all the time.
But what are you gonna do? Like
Every small business in the world is probably run by someone who's at least a shade racist.
well, I mean, to their own at first here too, because I mean, like, if your whole thing is like, well, I'm going to hire my family, then you obviously didn't screen.
Well, no, of course, but I mean, just like when you're that, if your face is in that business that much, man. I mean, it's the whole thing about skycapping again, and working any kind of tip job. It teaches you to be a racist in about 3 days. So yeah, exactly, because it's like, you know, 2 cars pull up, you gotta size them up to see who's gonna tip you better. You know, that's one of the first things you learn. Is how to be both a misogynist and a racist.
Look, man, take that
So if
same.
you're a small business owner and you're making fences, you're probably gonna feel the same way.
You are. I mean, take that same principle and ask, you know, girls who work as waitresses and girls who work in strip clubs. Are there certain people that they tend not to go after because, on average, they're poor tippers? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is it if you put up a job posting, then now you no longer can?
No, if your company's over 100 employees, if it's not privately owned, so anything that's publicly owned has to fall by anything that does business. Even if you're a small business, you do business with the federal government. So if you're the cleaning lady, you know, in like a building that is, you know, on a federal contract, you got to play by the rules too.
What about renting your house?
That is distinctly illegal.
That's what I wanted to make that game about, actually.
Right. Jeff and I were, that's right. You were going to call it red line or something, right?
Yeah.
So landlord or something like that. Yeah. So
Interesting.
I found out something interesting about landlording.
What?
So if you have a tenant, and this is why I'm never going to do this. I mean, unless I have, this is why you don't do this unless you have like 5 to 6 homes, okay? Because this happens a lot more than you think. If you have someone who goes through a bankruptcy, okay, while they're an active tenant, you cannot kick them out until it's been adjudicated. It can take years, and they don't have to pay you rent during that time. And so if you're like, and I'm going to tell my students next time we do this, that, you know, because I get a lot of them who are like, oh, I'm going to flip houses and blah, 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 you know, and then...
To sell or to rent?
And a lot of them are like to rent because they don't like to work. And so, you know, it's more...
Well, I agree with that.
Well, yeah, but it's also your biggest money maker, man. And so, you know, if you don't want to work, that's fine. Just do more of it in the beginning, and then you don't have to do more of it later, you know? So... That's fine, but you're not going to make money when you've got a $1,500 mortgage and an $1,800 rent on it.
Yeah.
So that's going to take you a hell of a lot more time to make money than it would if you just had a fucking job. So yeah. So and then on top of that, your mortgage, your bank don't give a shit if you're making if your tenant's paying. So they only care if you pay, and if you don't pay, they get your house. So
matter of fact, in that particular situation that you described, the way to go about it is, yes, you do that on the side. You continue to do your thing.
Right. Sure.
And then you have that supplemental thing where
And
I
the
think
supplemental
we've talked about
goes
it as
into
just,
buying the next one.
yeah, is that we've all talked about basically kind of doing the slightly like, you know, Jamaican lifestyle of having a few different jobs.
mailbox
Right.
money, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Who's having?
It used to be a common thing where like Jamaicans used to have like 5 different jobs.
Yeah.
They had 5 different hustles. It's like, oh, you do this, but you also have your hand in this. It's like, oh, and you're also a DJ. Oh, okay, and this.
Okay.
And this.
You do real estate development, huh? So anyway, you didn't mean to take it on a tangent there, but that was just something I heard on radio the other day. So
Just imagine getting wrecked by that, because there's this sense of like in your own mind, like, where's the justice?
there is no justice.
You know what I'm saying?
It
There's
is just straight up how you get fucked under the law. So, you know, because people have decided, well, you're the landlord, okay, and so you can eat it more so than that guy. And, you know, in a lot of cases, they'll probably be right if, you know, you own, like, apartment complexes and shit, you know, whatever. So, but if you're, like, one dude who has 1.5 houses, you know,
Yeah.
and you're renting when you're renting one out, you can get torpedoed by that.
Wow.
And that's especially rough because that's the one that you have that you're trying to springboard off into something else, and that's something where
Yeah, see, that's the thing is I've always like even Wayne told me that back in the days. You never start with a mortgage on your first one, so you got to buy it in cash. So if you don't have cash, or at least you got to pay down that mortgage to the point in time where you can absolutely eat it every single month and never complain about it. You know, because if you do it where like if you're so highly levered on that thing, and then yeah, one of your tenants declares Chapter 13 under your nose, you are screwed.
Wow.
So yeah.
well, dude, there is distinctly an anti-landlord sentiment going on right now. It's
Yeah, and I kind of agree with it on certain levels. So, like, the idea that, you know, people go into neighborhoods, like my neighborhoods, your neighbor, I don't know if they allow people to do this or not, but, like, our whole association right now is fighting VRBOs. So, yeah, you get these guys who buy, like, 3 or 4 properties at a chunk. And then, you know, it's like, no, man, this is a neighborhood. We want someone to live here, you know? So... It's like if you're gonna be in the hotel business, those are the red houses. You go get one of those, you know. So I'm kind of like I empathize with it a little bit just as a property owner, but you know, like the whole idea that like rents are like ridiculously unaffordable, it doesn't track. So it's the same. If you look at where rents go, they track almost perfectly. It's just this line that goes up. The only time rents go down, like San Francisco we're talking about, is when your town is fucked. So, you know, or your economy, like your local economy goes tango uniform. So if that happens, then okay, you know, like, okay, rents here are going to be depressed. So until there's jobs in the area, you know. Yeah, you can get a screaming deal on houses in the Midwest right now. There's like amazing places that you can get like a house that's like the size of this house, but for like less than $200,000. So you just have to live in Iowa to get that, you know. And most people, yeah, I don't like Iowa or something, you know.
But this is what we talked about is
Exactly. Move.
you
Fucking move.
you get 1 or 2 or 3 of the things there.
Right, you don't
and
get
just-
all 3, yeah.
And having all 3 of those things has compromises,
It does.
distinct compromises, man. I mean, yeah, it sucks. I understand. Where does that come from? Is there a certain like expectation or promise that's being put out to people that's basically saying that you deserve or you should have all these things?
Well, I tell people that, yeah, you deserve nice things, so you just can't afford them. So those are 2 different problems, you know?
It's just the American dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone was told that this is kind of what America is.
Well, it's not
What is
hard to
that
get.
definition?
That's the whole thing is everybody's complaining about the American dream. It's easier to get now than it has ever fucking been. So, but people are like, blah, blah, blah.
Right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can get a great job in this economy right now. So, and you can get going on your savings almost immediately. You just can't do that in fucking LA. So, you can't do that. And so, like,
Here?
Shit's expensive, man.
here is be a little bit hard, but if you move south a little bit, no problem. So, are you willing to commute half an hour south? So there you go. All right. So, or even down by the airport, way cheaper than it is in this area. So you can find that shit if you want to. So, and the same thing's true with like maybe not like a town like Denver. That'd be impossible now. Rents there are insane, but that's because people want to live there who have money. So, you know, and so that's what drives that shit up. Same thing with Fort Collins and the whole corridor there.
Yeah.
But if you go a little bit further out east, so like DIA, if you're out east by DIA, it's not too bad. So you can find shit out there. So, you know, especially along 76, it's starting to creep up towards Fort Morgan now. So you can find shit out there if you really want to.
I don't know if you can get to home ownership right now.
I think you absolutely can. The thing is that you can't do it in the way that this is a laptop screaming class out there who's like, oh, my parents grew up in this great house in Simony College.
Just fucking call them the DoorDash classes.
They're the DoorDash classes,
Yeah,
the
that's
fucking
kind of where I'm
DoorDash
going
class.
with
That,
it, yeah.
So they are the biggest whiners about the entire economy right now because they're the only ones who have wage stagnation because they're useless.
Okay, all right. Now, hold on. Yeah, all right. Don't go thinking that what I'm doing right now is refuting your point, because I agree with you. What are the conditions, Patrick, that set wages?
Demand.
Go on.
That's it.
Well,
Do you have skills that are in demand? If you do,
There we go.
you get paid.
okay.
So, yeah.
Skills that are in demand.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay.
You don't even have to get formal training in a lot of these skills
No.
in order to actually go out there. I mean, in demand right now, if you know how to fix a roof right now, you're in demand.
Electrician or
Oh, if you're an electrician, if you're if you're a truck driver. So, I mean, like, yeah, we're supposed to have electric driving trucks until everybody realizes, like, do we really want to make the most dangerous things autonomous? So, I mean,
yeah.
I've had students quit school to go to truck driving school.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, because it's like, hey, man, I can go drive for Walmart and make 6 digits, or I can sit here and learn how to do accounting and maybe make 50 to start as a bookkeeper. So it's like, yeah, you don't need to be here, do you, bro? It's like, nah. So,
unless you're willing to put the time in to make the little bit of money until you
Absolutely.
get to where you can do your own thing and all that kind of
Sure.
but even then, if you go and you get, like, I tell my students, like, do the accounting degree. It's the one that pays the most. Everybody's like, yeah, I don't like math. And it's like, it's not even fucking math, man.
Math's
It's just
all
organization.
computers
Yeah,
now.
it's all computerized anyway. So it's a detective job. You got to find out what's wrong. So,
Okay.
that sounds pretty cool. But
So,
then, like,
alright.
there's a lot of other things out there that's just like, there's this whiner class like, I didn't notice this until Twitter. So until I started getting on Twitter, it is distinctly obvious who these fucking people are. They're people who don't work. And they want houses in the suburbs in Burbank.
Well, okay. Now the problem. All right. This is okay. So for
There
me,
aren't very many poor people on Twitter, man.
listen, man. Okay, well, there are.
Where?
Black Twitter. The
That's not for me. They don't let me in. So,
no, welcome. But no. Okay, so the problem here, right? This is my issue, right? So yes, I've been subjected to these people for a longer period than you have,
oh yeah,
right?
no.
This is why these people have been my enemy for a while,
I
right?
didn't realize how many of them there were.
They're loud.
They're very loud,
Right,
Yeah.
this is-
and they're dumb.
No, this is why when I pick on certain areas, when I say like the migration that happened from Tumblr to Reddit, because that's the other place. Reddit is the other hive where this hangs out. Okay, the other problem I have with the DoorDash class is they don't say directly about them wanting to get paid. What they do is they try to do this end around where they say, well, actually, everybody needs to be making more.
Oh
are,
yeah.
are you saying the DoorDash people are people that work for DoorDash
no.
or that just order DoorDash?
People who order DoorDash 4 days a week, yeah, and then
Yes.
complain about being fucking poor. So, and it's like you could buy a 10-pack of ramen for like one of those. You'd be
Well,
fine, bro.
and that's
So-
that's exactly it right there. Is because then they say like, well, you have to pay for this because the DoorDash people deserve the money that they're getting. It's like, actually no, guys at Circle K should be making a quote unquote living wage. Like, what's a living wage?
Yeah.
Oh, $80,000 a year.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because they're setting
Yeah.
where they think they should be.
Yeah.
Right? Because we say, well, why don't you go fucking do that then? Right? Because they're like, no, we should all be making.
Yeah, so I can be a freelance writer and make that, kind of thing. So
That's where
yeah.
the
You see how that's
hypocrisy
working?
comes
Yeah.
in. Is nobody ever says like, well, I think the that would be like me looking at this podcast and saying that by merit of being part of the creative class, you and I should be pulling in an extra $80K a year, right? Because that is a quote unquote living wage.
Yeah. But like them, we don't do anything. So, yeah.
We don't pimp anything.
No,
We don't-
exactly,
that's
yeah.
the thing. The whole thing was, the whole idea was to record this for our own posterity.
Yeah, it's just
so
for
to-
funsies.
So
Yeah.
if our children or, I don't know, whatever, someday want to discover like, well, who was my father, right?
Yeah.
They can listen to
It was this crazy guy who lived next door, man.
Right. So it's there. Now, if there are people out there enjoying it, great. That's it for them. But there's no version of this where I say, like, I work hard.
Yeah, right.
Right? I work hard for this. You don't know what it is to do research. You don't know how much it costs to be entertaining, to have things that they're ready, right? I get it. These are the same people that have ruined the entire realm of film criticism, television
games
criticism,
criticism,
games
yeah.
criticism, right? These are the same people who have said, like, well, it's the same dickheads who go out there, like, when Portland's on fire and say, I'm a journalist, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
It's like
it's like the standard issue Wall Street Journal rock.
exactly. It's no, I'm a journalist. I am causing trouble out here, but I'm a journalist, so don't beat the crap out of me, right? Okay, because by merit of your iPhone's camera, you are a journalist. I get it, and to that end, yes, there is a piece of that where you are recording human history, right? But that doesn't put you in the realm of like, well, why are you paying for this? What is your background? What is your knowledge? What is your application to be presenting this in a journalistic format? Nothing. I have a phone.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can tell. Yeah, because when you write your articles, you still mess up its.
Right. There, huh? There you go.
It wasn't me. It was autocorrect.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Autocorrect will get you 97% of the times. I know the distinction.
There are very specific words that it gets you on. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I get that, man. And like this is just like, I didn't realize how many of them there are on Twitter. And you don't really see them until you dive into the comments of some of the things some of the threads you've been watching.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. It's like, this guy's dumb. This guy's stupid. This guy doesn't read. So, and it's like, what do you guys do for a living? I was like don't you have a job? So, for something, it's just like, or you just professional agitators, or you just get on this thing because you're having a shitty day at work and you decide to rant on bullshit that, really has nothing to do with the topic. It just has to do with the fact that you don't like your fucking job. So, get the fuck off Twitter then. Go get a new job. So, kind of thing. And it's just like the shallowness of how, like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not terribly well informed on a lot of things, but oh my god, man. That's some fucking Nostradamus compared to some of these guys.
What gets me is, I have complained about this for a long time here, is access to the Wikipedia abstract does not make you a subject matter expert.
Correct. You have been consistent about that.
When you read something
For many years.
when you read something moronic, does it make you want to skip past it more or read it and respond?
It depends on how many followers they have.
Oh.
If it's a low effort account, look, this is my rule on here, is I don't gauge with low follower accounts, right? Because these people will sit there and bother you all day, right? It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how many zingers or how many things that you bust on them for, right? You're never going to get the accomplishment that you want. If somebody swings at you and they have 10,000 followers, right, or something like that, they're reading what that person is saying and what I'm saying in the back and forward, right? So my whole thing is, God, all right, I'm sorry, I'm gonna use this because I used to do this when we played video games. So, like, when we were playing, like, Rainbow Six, and the guys were in, like, a crowd, our guys, like me and these other dudes, I'd be behind and I'd just flip a grenade their way,
you would. Yeah.
right? Now,
In the elevator.
Now, the first few times, the other dudes there, like our friends, would be like, the enemy's throwing grenades at us.
Right.
And then they'd, like, freak out a little bit and look at the enemies. But it was me the whole time.
Yeah, it was Jeff.
But if you see somebody here with, a bunch of followers, right, and you have yours, you want to throw a grenade in there to get the whole thing started, right? Because you want that person's followers to argue with your followers and vice versa,
So we
right?
get a fight going.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Because that's where the fun stuff is. If it's just a low effort account, you don't waste your time. It's like, you can call me whatever you want. You can say it like this. It's like, you get 27 followers. I'm like, oh, fuck you. I don't care, right? But if you swing at me and you got a crowd that's like, all right, we got to do this. We got to do this. All right. And we're going to have a fun time with this.
See, I've seen some pretty high-level dudes do that, too. Now, of
course.
you pointed out.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. So,
Yeah, you don't waste your time with fucking randos.
yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
or
you get-
every
yeah.
now and then a rando will come at you with something. You say, dude, that's a good point. You got me.
See, that's kind of nice. So, yeah. It's like, oh, you're actually human. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Can you see yourself getting
Doing the
into
Twitter?
these debate things and all these
I
things?
have tried to, like, there's been a couple times where I saw something that was so insanely stupid that I was like, I got it. And then I'd get halfway through. I was like, no, this is not a life for you, Pat. So, because you like picking up that first cigarette.
You see yourself getting sucked in completely?
Absolutely. Oh my God, the amount of stupidity that I see out there. And that's why, like, so even, all right, so maybe I thought, oh, all the right guys, but I'm telling you, just looking at, like, the randos on there, the townies on Twitter, there are not very many of them that are struggling to put, like, 2 pennies together. So there are not people out there who don't know if they're going to be able to fill their car with gas. So there are not people out there who, they got to find a new place by the end of the month, so to speak. It's just not the same. I mean, you can tell. Okay, I mean, if you spend a lot of time with guys like that, and I know you've worked shit jobs, and I've worked shit jobs, Jeff has worked shit jobs, people are fucking poor. They don't talk like these guys do, man. No.
No. As a matter of fact, what they don't try to do, the funny thing is people that are poor, what's weird is there's this opposite effect, right? Is that people that are poor, right, flip it around to try to say how much they have.
Yes.
People that have a lot or want to pretend poor, right, try to turn this into a sob story, and that's where
there's a lot of pretend poor.
Wow.
That's the thing right there.
That's a good way to. There's a lot of pretend poor out there, and then you're right. You're totally right. They use it as an excuse to, we all should make $85,000. We should all have a $20 an hour minimum wage. So we should all have free health care, and it's just like, okay, I just got a whiff of you. So
because Patrick, what does that invariably link itself to? That
Marxism. Yeah.
That's it, and that's the one.
It's not even Marxism. Like they don't even like. I've seen a few people go off on this. They don't even. They never even read it. So it's like you don't even know that's not what he said. No. Okay, I read the fucking book. It sucks. Okay, I read the big one that comes in 2 books glued together.
The little one.
Yeah, most people read the little one, and most people read the abstract. Don't look at the.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. When I was reading the little one, the problem here was I didn't retain shit because the whole time I'm like, ugh.
Well, I mean, I read it in conjunction with 1984, so it kind of made sense at the time. But then
does it? Because 1984 to me was decisively anti-communist.
No, it is. That's the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
the point.
All right.
Yeah.
But people argue that it is.
No. Yeah, but then there's it's just it really comes down to the sentiment. You don't want to fucking work. I got it. Okay. So welcome to the club. All of us are that way. Okay. I would much rather spend my time on the beach. Okay, or doing whatever. All right, but really, when it comes down to it, having a job ain't a bad way to make money. So it's actually a pretty good way to make money. The next thing you know, as you start making money, a lot of this shit doesn't really fucking matter to you.
Well, that is where you said, like, those people that are in the struggle, they can't be on Twitter because they're busy struggling.
Right, yeah, exactly.
All right.
So, well, and even those that are, it's fake struggle. So, it's like, you saw one that was hilarious the other day. It was this guy, and he just said, help me budget this. So have you seen any of those?
Was he serious?
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
but
okay,
he was like, right now, okay, so like, I live here. I've got, $1,200 in rent or whatever. Okay. I got a $700 car payment. I didn't realize cars had gotten as expensive as they have.
This is what I'm talking about.
If you get a new one,
saying,
yeah.
It is not cheap to...
It is and it isn't. See, like the inflation is in different places. It's in places where anything that is domestically sourced is fucking expensive. Okay, so food's not as bad. The thing that is bad is fucking restaurants. Restaurants are but like you go to the grocery store, eggs are the same as they were before the pandemic. They came right back down.
Eggs came down, but man, I'm telling you, like
meat's the same. Yeah, milk did. Yeah,
I can show you what I have the receipts. I can show you.
Sure.
Like,
so let me guess what they are. They're either fruits and vegetables. So those are up. Okay. So domestically sourced, and it's really expensive to pick them.
Well, you get a lot of those from like Mexico and stuff like that. I mean, like bananas, those don't come from here.
No, they don't. But I guarantee if you got lettuce, it came from California. So
I never.
Oh, okay. Well, if you get like that or green beans or broccoli or anything like that, it comes from the United States. They don't bring that stuff in from outside. But yeah, like restaurant food is insanely more expensive. It is like triple what it was like just like 6-7 years ago. So, but that makes sense. You know why it's that expensive?
Labor.
Yes, bingo. So like everybody's making more money on the service class. So that's the laptop class, and this guy was budgeting this, and he's like, it was hilarious because it was like housekeeping, $3,500, on there to actually get someone to come clean his fucking house, So that's just how it works, man. So it's if you have anything that involves any kind of labor that you have to source locally, it is expensive now. And so, like, even my buddy over there, he, at the yacht club that I attend, and so occasionally, he lays tile for a living. He is making a mint. So, because he can charge way more than he used to be able to charge. So, yeah. He's like, I'm on a glide path to retirement.
Well, on top of that, too, it's not just that, look, I knew those guys when there actually was, like, a slowdown.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
When they're all getting laid off. Yeah.
Well, getting laid off, and other guys where it had turned from jobs to everybody was just doing tons of side work, right? Because that was their gig. Because that was where it's like, people can't afford this right now, but if we have some excess stuff and basically fall off the truck tile, I'm going to go in here and knock this out on a Wednesday. They were doing side work, right? But that wasn't like the primary gig because you can't do that and report that. That's not the tax stuff. That's not the big jobs, right? But yeah, at this point, your friend over there that's not only like charging more, I guarantee you he's booked out through January.
He is. I've tried to get him to come take. He said he'll make room for me if I have something to do, but he's like, I'm booked. So yeah.
And then you also get to pick and choose which ones you want to do and stuff like that. And you're like,
oh yeah. Yeah, he fired a huge client because they made him wear a mask. He was like, fuck this. Yeah. He's like, I don't need your shit. So
yeah, no, I totally understand it. Yeah, it's the other side. I mean, the other part where it goes into like Marxism, that's the part. Anytime that somebody basically coughs up like pro-communism, shit, like, yeah, that's my sort of thing. Is like, because our family sort of has history in that.
Yeah,
right.
It's the skunk on the highway, man. You can smell it for miles now.
Yeah.
Once you know once you know what it is, it's just like, I know what you're doing, man. So
I mean, the funniest claim that I see, of course, is like, and this is a kind of a semi-popular one, but it's like, well, listen, if your family suffered from communism, it's because they were supposed to.
So when all your other family members gathered around them and yelled at them and threw feces on them.
Right. It was basically, it's like they suffered because they were, the bourgeoisie.
People.
They were the yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's stupid. So
like my family was running like the school buses.
Yeah.
In North Korea.
Oh man, North Korea is so bad.
Before it was North Korea.
Yeah.
And then the shitty North Koreans made it North Korea.
It is so bad. So.
Because if you didn't abandon those things, you died.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how awful that time was. Because you don't hear that much about after like 1952. So,
no.
Yeah, you don't. It goes dark for a while.
I had the benefit of hitting up my mom about some of the stories about there, and she's like, "Oh no, it sucks.
It sucks."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, it's so bad. They're like, so they had that guy a couple weeks ago. You remember this? Who ran across the border?
Yeah.
And they threw him back. So,
Yeah.
So
he's a soldier. Yeah.
He's a U.S. soldier, and specifically, he was about to get drummed out of the army and charged with something, and so he decided it would be a good idea to run across the border.
Is that why he?
That's why he did that. Yeah. So it took a couple of days for that story to come out because fucking Twitter out there was like, get away from America. It's It's like, fucking you go, bro. So you get to the border there, they're gonna confiscate your glasses. So, yeah, this is crazy. With the amount of human trafficking that goes out of there, it's just insane. It's so awful. It's so awful.
And that's the other thing too. Is there's this because it's become a political thing. Like there's this action from fucking laptop Twitter to like downplay
laptop Twitter
to downplay human trafficking. Right? I'm like,
that is weird. I have noticed that.
Yes, because it's a right wing point.
I guess
so they're trying to basically say like, guys, it's not what you think it is. It's not happening. It's like, Do you realize that you're actually sort of coming out in favor of human trafficking?
I don't
right
think
now?
it was actually that like politicized even before that movie came out. You know,
It was.
Well, I get that, but I don't understand why. It's just universally bad. So it's not like one side gets to claim that and the other one doesn't. It's just bad. All right, and
Should
so
be stopped. Like,
yeah, this is bad. If your kid got wrapped up in this shit, I don't think you'd really care about the politics behind it. You'd want the helicopters to go in, rolling heavy. So, kind of thing. So
Understood. Yeah.
yeah, but and then they started politicizing. It was like that's fucking. Wait, you guys are dumb.
You guys are on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was weird, man. So
some things just don't have sides. Like we don't have to make it a point on either one's chalkboard to be like, this is strictly a
bad.
them thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and the same thing. I've always felt the same way about Ukraine on this one too. It's like, no, invading your neighbors is bad. Okay, so that should be discouraged as much as possible. Why is this a political thing?
Wow,
So,
how much money are we gonna put into it?
I didn't even realize it was only $6 billion that they were fighting over the other day. That's stupid. So it was only $6 billion. They had whittled it all the way down from 40-some, okay, which was your initial proposal way back in February, okay, down to 6. So it's like, okay, so obviously we're not funding this anymore. Why is this an issue? So, I mean, we're still going to send them shit, but we just charge them for it now. So, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, if you charge them for it, look.
Well, we have been the entire time.
We're never gonna collect anyway.
We might. So, I mean, Russia never paid us back after World War II, but Britain did. So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, we had talks.
we were buddies.
Yeah,
yeah.
we had things straight.
We were
It was
buddies,
it was like, we did a lot of stuff, before that. But I mean, I guess the part on this, yes, I can accept this argument of like, why are you fighting over $6 billion? Well, because if you count the billions that came before it, right, eventually you come to a point where you say, all right, well, when are we going to curtail this? When do we say that this is enough?
I think we've got to that point. Yeah.
We'll see. Given the fact that they actually, ran into this, and this actually caused the...
Ran into what?
Well, the stoppage point, because this was, the sticking point, where, the current version does not have that.
No, but I mean, it's almost inevitable that we're going to start seeing some more austerity in the budget across the board anyway. So,
In theory, I mean,
it's about time, yeah.
Well,
So,
I mean, they've
yeah.
been spending like fucking crazy, and it is a problem. I understand that most of the time, right? You and I, we're usually on the other side of this, like, nah, do it. If you're, essentially, like we've talked about, is if you're growing out of it, then it doesn't matter, right?
Well, we're still growing out of it. So, yeah.
But we do need to put the clamps on some shit.
We do. I mean, most of that still, again, is Medicare and Social Security. So, I mean, the actual discretionary fund, even the military budget is nothing compared to those two things. These fixed Social Security overnight if you change the retirement age to 77. And so it's
77.
Oh, no. What? Yeah. No, it's at 65. 67, my bad.
Yeah, you're fine.
No, my bad.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're not a politician.
Well, we're already, us guys, we're already grandfathered in. So, we're like the way, so Social Security is like it's a bus, and when you get on the bus, that's your seat, so to speak. And so, when we got on the bus back in like the 80s and the 70s, okay, it's set at 65. So we're good until 65.
Oh.
So, yeah. And the only thing is, you change it to 67. I think they actually have changed it to 67. That only affects people born after 2005 or something like that. So,
Well, at that point, doesn't it actually just change? Like, you can get in at 65, but you don't draw as much. If you draw earlier, then you get...
It's just you and I, we all can draw at 62, but you get a reduced thing. Yeah. If you really want to. So,
Or need to.
Well, no, if you need to, okay, so if you're disabled, then you get full benefit. So,
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people don't fucking know that. And so, the budget fight over $6 billion it's ridiculous, man. I mean, the fucking Pentagon spends more on copy paper every year than that.
Look, I get it. I know what you're saying on a pragmatic level. The problem here is that, yes, I see it on the same way that essentially it's like, you have to take the same approach sometimes, like when they look at basically like firearms restrictions, right?
Sure.
Where you're like, no, obviously, if I look at this and say like, well, I can't see any benefit to these bump stock things. All they let you do is
They're fun.
well, I mean, to me, it was like, all right, well, so the only purpose is like it's not accurate. It sucks.
No.
Right? It's a shitty piece of hardware, but all it does is it does give you the ability to shoot at a lot of people in, a heartbeat. But if I sit there and say like, all right, but what does this mean in terms of by curtailing this? Does it open the door for other? And again,
Yeah, I got you.
I know that's
I
a
got you.
problem. I know it's a fallacy, but you
It's
do
not
have
always
to
a
take that into consideration when you're like, yes, I have to fight against something that I don't agree with because I don't want you to take another piece.
See, I think sorry, man, go for
Yeah.
it.
Or it's just the attitude of, it's $6 billion. It's what's the big deal? It's like same as saying, well, I just go out and grab a burger. It's just $10. No big deal.
You're
But by the
laptoping
end
it,
of the
yeah.
month, you're
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
where did
yeah.
my money go?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
can give
mean,
you that.
I guess my point is like $6 billion with this. Okay, that's $6 billion that you're going to go spend at a small business that's struggling because this guy is like trying to put his kids through school or something like that. So you can go buy a sandwich at him, or you can skip a scan and a sandwich at Walmart. Okay, there's a qualitative difference between those two things. So
Yeah, I get it. Again, but if you take into consideration what's been spent already, you're like, you have to start clamping it down. When do you start? When
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
say like enough is enough?
yeah, no, I mean,
or when do
I guess there's a false argument out there that I see a lot of people doing is like, well, this is going to force Ukraine to the table. It's not. So it's absolutely not. So they'll fight with Kalashnikovs and fucking Molotov cocktails. So they did that the first 3 weeks of the war, and they actually managed to fight off the Russians pretty good. They'll keep doing it, man.
If that's the case, then what do they need our money for?
Well, that's a good point. So, like one of the things that I know, this is kind of a cynical way to look at it, but I've seen the argument made is basically, it was like, oh, okay, so it first started out as this, okay, we got to save these guys kind of thing, and we can do a lot to help, and okay, that's great. But then within after a couple of months, it turned into, it was like, well, this is actually a really good way to recycle all our stock in our inventory. So,
right.
yeah,
Yep.
and so I've heard that one too, and there's actually some merit behind that because there's some guys that I pay attention to. Some of them are very smart people when it comes to this shit. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, all the javelins are about to go bad, and so we need those for Taiwan.
And there's also a fair argument to be said, like, again, I can't get you the paperwork right now. I guarantee you this will show up in the next 5 to 10 years, but I guarantee you there are people right now that are making some crazy money off of this.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, of course.
In nefarious ways.
Well, but I'd be curious as like what percentage that is because
Can't tell you.
Yeah, I can't tell you either. I mean, the one thing you can do is you can go through and you can audit like how much of it goes to Lockheed, or Raytheon or whatever,
Right.
General Dynamics, because they didn't give them old Bradleys, they built them brand new ones. So because they didn't want, well, no, not the Bradleys, the Abrams, because we didn't want to give them the souped up armor because it's still classified.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah, no, and those guys, of course, yeah, okay, so that was money that was spent in Ohio. You can track that down, but as far as like, okay, we spent, I think it's like 20% of it's actually cash that's supporting your government in one way or another. I'd be curious to see where that's going.
See, yeah, and that's that. And you're right. And the other component of this is it's essentially like, it's almost like a charity organization. And I don't mean that in a like a mean or negative way, but I mean it's the same way where you're like, all right, well, this is clearly going to a good cause, right, as far as I'm concerned. But the problem here is when you look down to the nitty-gritty of it and you say like, all right, so how much of every $1 is making it to the agencies that need it, right?
Like how COVID money was spent.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy, that's
someone's gonna write a book on that someday, and they're gonna make some money.
So much money going out everywhere, and it's just like some got to the right things. It doesn't add up to the whole numbers that we wrote.
And it's places where they're not even. What was it? The Baltimore school that got tons and tons of COVID money, but it's like, what did you do with it?
Nothing changed.
Yeah,
There's
There's not
just
a new
no documentation.
ventilation system.
There's
put
no.
in.
Where did this go?
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
I watched a cartoon of like from the '60s of Scrooge McDuck talking to his nephews about
Oh, that great cartoon, that animated one.
the old McDuck
Oh,
voice
yeah.
where
Oh,
he's just
man.
breaking it down. They're like,
That's Alan Young. That was
Yeah.
fucking Mr. Ed's guy.
yeah. And breaking it down, he's like, well, here's what money's about. He's just like, this is where cavemen had problems, and
Right. I can't. I can almost remember the song.
They're
So,
singing about how they need money.
Yeah.
It's just like, we need some.
We need money.
Yeah.
Boy, we need money.
The Greek chorus of girls and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. I'm like, God damn, man. Remember when like educational shit used to have like production behind it?
I used to play that in school. So
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
I used to use that one when I was teaching economics. So because it's so fucking good. I mean, a lot of the shit in there now is wrong, all right, but it's still pretty good.
Well, on a base level, no. And if I recall correctly, I think in that same episode, I think that they actually use the house analogy,
They do.
the very flawed house
It's like a
analogy.
pie. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a
Taxes
pie,
and
yeah.
roads and other things. Yeah, there's like something in it's a great song, man. So yeah. No, I mean some of that's true. That's definitely true on the local level. So that's how your local government operates.
Right.
The federal government's just different because it has a cheese factory.
Yep.
So that they can just make cheese. So
Yeah, I think there's a part where they actually talk about. I think that cartoon discusses the change off of precious metals as.
they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, because it's too expensive to store. So it's dangerous. Yeah, they talk about inflation in that thing too.
How long is this movie?
Oh, it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
great.
Covers a decent amount.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
They talk like $1 billion. It's like this insane amount of money because it was made in the 1950s, and $1 billion would buy you like 12 battleships. So it's like that's 1,000 million. Wow.
So because when you go into McDuck's money bin too, because then there's like these are all gold coins.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't make those.
just tidying up a bit.
Yeah. Which means he's like paid in like ancient treasure and shit.
Right. It's made
Yeah.
loot again, or
Yeah.
booty, loot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know how YouTube copped that up to me, but it did. I'm like, there were a couple other cartoons that it coughed up, and man, these were some. I remember the weirdest things. There's this, and you tell me if you remember this. There was this episode of. I didn't realize how many hats Mickey Mouse used to wear back in the day. It was just basically
Hat?
Yeah, just in terms of. He's a guy, and he has a general demeanor, but he was asked in these cartoons to be many different things just for the sake of basically having like 10 gags that he was going to do. And for whatever reason, in this one episode, it's like I remember this as clear as it was yesterday, was he's got like a lab coat on, and he's mixing alchemic crap, right? And he ultimately makes this potion that he squirts on like a fly, and
yeah, it just starts chugging around. Yeah,
and
it
they
turns into a little wine.
yes, and then he gets really aggressive. I remember like distinctly, it's like I remember this as a kid because I remember when he was mixing the chemicals. I remember the concoction he was making looked delicious.
Right. Wasn't he trying to make like it wasn't a bug spray, it was like a weed killer or something in that one. Yeah.
I don't know what he was trying to make because
I know exactly what
the introduction is he's just making stuff. And he's going through the cabinets, and he ultimately makes this like bravery potion.
That's right. He squirts it on Pluto's butt.
He does.
So, yeah.
Well, he sprays it on the cat.
Right.
Right.
Which kicks the shit out of Pluto.
Well, he does because he sprays it on the fly, right? And that ultimately gets the cat involved somehow, right?
But there's a mouse in there too.
Yeah. So he ends up spraying the mouse. It whoops the cat, right? And then the cat gets thrown out, and Pluto starts bullying the shit out of this. Right.
That's right.
So he sprays the cat, right, and then he ultimately ends up spraying Pluto because the dog catcher.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I just remember those potions. You're like, that looks delicious.
Right. It was purple.
It was purple, and there was one that was red. That was
Okay, yeah.
gorgeous, like overflowing red. I'm like,
I wonder how old that cartoon is. So
If I were to gauge, I would say it was mid-50s.
maybe some of them are older than you think. Some of the color ones, the really good ones, are like pre-war, and then if you look at the '50s ones, they're a little bit different. Like the classic '50s one is the goofy driving one.
Yeah,
So, you remember that where they just like how this is exactly, and this is how you behave on the interstate. So the interstate system was brand fucking new at that time. Yeah.
You know what? Okay, I bet you I know what kicked me down from that, because there was a series of cartoons that were basically like, this is the television of the future, and this TV has a separate compartment for your mother-in-law. This is for people that
Wait, what?
They would all do that. It was one with cars, and it was like it has this street-wide.
I know what you're talking about.
It's
Yeah.
like where it's just deliberately designed to mow down pedestrians, and that's the joke.
Yeah, that was a joke.
And then the other one is like, this car has a glass bottom a glass bottom, so you can see if the pedestrian you ran over was a friend of yours.
That wasn't a Disney cartoon.
No,
I know
but that's what I'm saying. I think
Oh,
that's how
my
it culminated. Oh my God, these were they had such a series on this.
They
Yeah.
did. Well, they had all these public service announcements because Disney was like basically the propaganda arm of the government after World War II. It was. It really
And
was.
during.
Yeah, and during. Well, especially during. So go watch Commando Duck, the most racist cartoon ever. So
That's debatable. The most racist.
I don't know. It's pretty over the top, man. So yeah, the way the Japanese are drawn is like, it's pretty glaringly obvious what they're trying to do.
They make an argument,
So-
and it's hard to refute this. That what is it? It's like Coal Black and the Seven. Look, it's Snow White but done in blackface.
I don't think I've seen that.
That was one of the infamous. It was they used to have a list. It was like the 7 band cartoon.
Was that a Disney cartoon?
I've seen it. I don't remember if it was, but it is. For me, look, I can see what they're doing, because like the whole point of this was whoever was working at those studios, they fucking loved jazz, right?
Well, yeah, that was the whole system, though. You could find that in Tom and Jerry just as easy as you could in fucking Warner Brothers or in Disney at the time. So yeah,
Yeah, they loved jazz. So the whole purpose of this was to take Snow White and turn it into like a black jazz thing, because they're all just like laughing and doing like jazz stuff.
I don't think I've seen that one.
No, like I said, it never aired on regular TV
Oh, okay.
for our age.
I've like, I guarantee there's some on that list that we've all seen because they weren't on a list. in the
Well,
80s.
yeah, there were certain things that I remember, like I seem to recall there being another joke in Droopy that seems to be gone now.
What, you stick your head in the tailpipe? You know,
Dude, there's one.
where there's dynamite and it gets soot all over you except for your lips.
Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
yes.
Right.
You guys remember those? Those were
Yeah.
on all the time, man.
They were,
I
and
remember when Disney Channel would play Song of the South. So
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
all the time. I never saw it in the theater. So.
you did. You went with me too. And that's what's funny is it's an otherwise boring
fine.
movie.
Well, it is. There's nothing. I mean, the Briar Rabbit is the only one that's any good in it, but
Well, the songs are really catchy.
Songs
That's okay.
but
so
nothing happens in it.
here's my question: What is the problem with Song of the South?
Oh, I guess it's just harkens. It basically glorifies, the era of Jim Crow. So more so than anything else.
Well, the thing is,
It's like, look how happy they are. They're fine.
yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
mind being a slave.
Right. Yeah.
Is the problem. In fact,
Right.
the Oscar-winning song from it sort of dismantles.
That's right. It did win an Oscar.
He won an Oscar.
Yeah, but I don't think he was actually supposed to be a slave. This was after the war, I think. It was like it was like this like,
The Reconstruction. Then.
well, this period of time in the South that goes from 1865 to like 1960, or maybe to 1953 with Brown, where nothing happened. It was the same place.
Right.
So,
Right.
people dress the same, they, worked the same jobs, ate the same food, listened to the same fucking music. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the timeless South. So
Except for that brief part after the war ended when African American representation in Congress was at its absolute highest.
well, they literally didn't, put anything about that in there.
They changed that.
They changed that. Yeah.
They made
They
rules that was
changed
a problem.
Yeah.
But no, that was the thing. Was Zippity Doodah was
Yeah.
the the thing is, like, this decries the
No red lining in this song. Yeah,
it's like,
I know. Yeah.
it's a goddamn catchy song. And like I said, that song won an Academy Award, and I'm pretty sure, if I recall, the actor in that actually won the Academy Award.
Well, isn't that who is that? That's
I can't remember his name.
It's not Nat King Cole.
No.
It's
I don't know his name right offhand because I can't tell you shit that he was in besides that.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But again, if you watch it, it's like there's nothing really.
No, but I mean, so like all of the studios there, they had a little bit of South worship. I mean, you had
Good, yeah, exactly.
you had like fucking Yosemite Sam, you know, and like his famous like this is the Mason-Dixon line, and anything north of that is just like fucking wasteland. So it's just a
like
joke.
the war's over,
The
bro.
war's way over. But then even like the Droopy cartoons, they had the wolf who had the fucking Civil War, the Johnny Reb cap
Oh
for a
yeah.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, he did, and evidently they're not a fan of him either.
Well, of course not. He
But he's
whistles.
so
He literally
goddamn
whistles
funny.
Dixie.
He's so goddamn funny.
Actually, no. It's the yellow. He
Yeah.
whistles the Yellow Rose of Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Look, man, that poor guy. He's in a cartoon where that little lamb just keeps eating everything, and
Yeah, that one's great.
I love that so much.
He ate
It
his
is
pants.
he put him on the railroad and put the metal in his mouth to
goat.
eat. Yeah.
Yeah, that you're right.
So that
Yeah.
he would wander to where it ended, and he comes back with all these stamps on him.
Right. Well, yeah,
Where
because
he's-
the tracks eventually connect. I guess. I don't know.
But the guy is still this big.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
It's
Those
so
are the
adorable.
best
It's awesome.
cartoons,
I mean,
man.
I
Yeah.
loved some of these. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. So there was definitely a little bit of that worship going on there. I guess you didn't get quite as much of it at Disney. You got a little bit here and there. But like the other major ones, it was all the time, man. So they always had something going because the other ones did all the old West shit and stuff like that too. So,
Oh,
Indians.
oh, well, okay. So Disney definitely had it out for those guys. Yeah. So there was no respect given at all until what fucking Pocahontas. So up to that point in time, they were basically expendable goofies who got shot. So you know.
Well, they're always smoking a peace pipe.
Well, yeah. So, but you know, they just attacking the poor settlers every single time. I remember even going to Disneyland when I was a kid, and that was still a thing. It was like, you know, you never wanted to be on the Indian side; it was always the cowboy side. So yeah, and they used to do that with the steamboat. Rode the steamboat around. You had that fake attack.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that was actually in the park. They would do that every fucking day, and so you literally took Mark Twain's steamboat around. Like, and there was like a Songs of the South part of that too, where they had like
Mountain.
Huh?
Splash Mountain. That's where
Was it Splash
that's
Mountain?
that's the song where all that all comes from. That's why it's been pulled.
Well, this was before Splash Mountain.
But
It's
yeah,
just-
that's
I don't think I ever.
That's
went
the
there
ride
with
where that
Splash.
comes from,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. Yeah, no, but they had like there was a plantation kind of thing. So yeah, that was on this island, and you get on that because it's a ferry boat. And then you go through the Old West part, and you get, you know, attacked by Indians, so who are like probably Mexicans and
back then. I don't know.
probably, man.
You could probably have some Japanese in there. I wouldn't be surprised.
That would make
At the
perfect sense.
time,
too,
yeah, when that came in, yeah,
yeah.
because there was an influx over there.
There
yeah.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, they never actually they never pulled any punches on that one. So,
Maybe it's cool that we have grown up from that a little bit.
yeah,
Maybe it is.
they did have the one cartoon. It was like the little Hiawatha.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
so that one
Yeah.
was like the only one where there was actually because he had the little dinky arrow that he was trying to.
Oh, he's so cute.
Right.
He was
Yeah.
very cute, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like the one that they weren't actually actively getting genocided in the cartoons. So-
Dude, I remember that in some of those cartoons, the purpose of singing the 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians
was to shoot them.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
because they were laying out bodies.
Do you remember
yeah.
the old gag, one more bites the dust? so But then,
It's
like,
fine. It's
the fucking Warner Bros. Injun Joe. We did a joke about that on this.
we
Injun-
did. Yeah.
What you know that you can't tell.
I loved that
That's
commercial.
great.
I couldn't believe that you told me that they did it twice.
They did. They did 2 completely separate versions of that cartoon. So
Because one had Porky Pig in it, right?
one of them had Porky Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was the. I get it. There's a part of this that says like, okay, it is good that we've grown up from this. The weird thing, the one that always gets me, is the fact that Speedy Gonzales is beloved in the
Oh, in Mexico?
Latin community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the white people from Atlanta that said like, no, we'll tell you what's offensive.
Anybody who's like try to point out the vicious stereotypes behind Speedy Gonzales, it's like you didn't watch the fucking cartoon. He's the hero.
He's fast and smart.
He's very fast. He's
Not
very smart.
Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Slowpoke was an asshole. Actually, no, he was oftentimes my favorite part of those cartoons because he was so.
We punched the fuck out of who was
Well,
it?
no, it wasn't even that. It was just this his attitude of. He was an ingrate. That was his problem.
He was an ingrate,
So
yeah.
when Speedy would go rip off some cheese from the cat, right, and he'd bring it to then Slowpoke would complain it doesn't have any Tabasco sauce.
Right, yeah.
And
Oh,
so
yeah,
he-
yeah.
Imparting upon his brother and putting him in harm's way.
Yeah, I can see how some people would take that one the wrong way. But
Right.
well, I get that, but he was just a foil to Speedy.
Right,
So,
yeah.
You know, it wasn't really like...
Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's I don't think it was written as like, well, this is what Mexicans are actually like. No.
Right. He's not waving the flag around.
Right,
He's
yeah.
just yeah. He was an imposition, right?
He was
yeah.
designed as basically a plot device that, you know, I mean, and as a kid, you recognized immediately what was going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, no, this is how all Mexicans are. It was like, shut up with that stuff, man. And so it was just good, honest entertainment. You're right. I mean, you don't see him as much as you used to, but you used to see all the fucking Speedy bumper sticker, or the silhouettes and shit
Yeah.
that people would put up.
And Tweety.
And
He
Tweety.
was, in the Latin community, it's huge. Right.
Yeah, I never understood the
Yeah,
Tweety
why
thing, man.
Tweety?
I don't know. It
No
just
idea,
was.
but
Yeah.
it just was.
It was.
Dude, I remember in the '90s they used to sell what looked like gangster clothes
They did.
with like Warner Brothers characters on them, with like Bugs's pants like to his knees.
Oh,
and shit.
yeah. He
Him
used to
and-
sag hard, man.
Him and Taz would be
Oh.
like wearing the crisscross shit with their
Taz made
arms
sense,
crossed
though.
and
That's where that Taz show was going on. So in the early '90s,
yeah, well,
there was a resurgence there.
and there was a
Blah
group
blah
of
blah,
people-
yakety schmackety.
I never saw that one.
Fresh glass of OJ.
OJ, tall glass. of
No,
OJ, son.
that was from Tasmania.
That
The
was
show
Taz.
was Tasmania.
Tasmania.
His dad would always be like, what was he supposed to be like Nat King Cole? No, he was like Bing Crosby. Yeah.
He was just supposed to be like your typical neighborhood dad who just, you know.
But the voice that he was putting on
it might
was
be Bing
like,
Crosby.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
do not remember.
It was on the same
Tasmania.
time as Animaniacs, man. So same run of shows there.
with
Tiny
Tasmania, Tasmania, Tasmania.
Okay.
You.
I don't remember the show at all, though.
You almost nailed that.
It's not hard. It's not like I'm putting on an accent. Yeah, because it was.
I
Taz.
do remember that song, but yeah, I definitely don't really remember the show.
It's fine. It was fine. It was.
That's when Taz was a good guy, because he was always an antagonist before. He was like making like tossed salad. He
shit.
tossed a mean salad. That's right. There are fucking animals in it.
But that's. I mean, that was. I don't know if people want to call that like sort of the is that part of like the Disney? Well, that's
That was Warner
WB,
Brothers,
but
yeah.
is that part of like the same era? Would they call that like the Renaissance era there too? Because
Oh yeah,
everything that follows the Little Mermaid.
DuckTales. That's when he had Tailspin. That's
Yeah.
when he had all that shit. It was like, you know, it was like Morning in America again for cartoons. He got out of the dark ages of the '70s with Tom with his super angry charcoal eyebrows.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. and that
And his
music.
yellow eyes and a terrible music. I mean, it's like, I just remember it's way too much xylophone, way too much xylophone and everything. It was like, It's not even a good xylophone. It's the one with the fucking yellow and green. I can't
Oh
stand those
man, it was
cartoons, man. I
just
tried to
terrible.
watch
It
them.
was just so hard to watch. Like, because I remember just being a kid, like, what's wrong with these?
The Pink Panther cartoons were the same way. I went back and watched a few of those. They are bad. So they're not what you remember them.
But Pink Panther didn't have a previous incarnation upon which to
true.
look at that,
Yeah.
right? The Looney Tunes and the Disney cartoons, and God help you, like, if you came into like the late 70s and the 80s, and if you came from the 50s of Hanna-Barbera and said, what is this?
Oh, they were terrible.
Right?
Yeah, you and your fucking scrolling backgrounds. So, it's Scooby-Doo. We're going to do the door gag again, aren't we?
It's just not even just the door gag. It's just like to have at least 4 offshoots of Scooby-Doo where it's the same
show.
goddamn thing.
Jabberjaw.
And the funny thing was, of them, I prefer Jabberjaw, right?
Really? With the I mean, like, even in the 70s, having like a curly joke was kind of
Dude,
like...
I know,
know.
but at least it was a shark. At least
It
a
wasn't
fucking
shark, but he never ate anybody or anything.
No,
so...
he didn't. He was a dumbass. But same thing goes like Speed Buggy did nothing for me.
Speed Buggy was dumb.
But it's the same goddamn show.
Yeah. Yeah, that one even had Shaggy in it, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except for as a mechanic rather than a pothead. So, yeah.
I'm not going to say that he didn't,
I'm sure he imbibed from time to time.
I'm sure.
Shaggy, it was understood that this is what he did.
But he was a direct ripoff from a character from...
Was he?
Yeah.
For what?
What is it? Maynard G. Krebs. This was a character from...
Oh. I have heard this, yeah.
Yeah, it one for one. Dad pointed that out to me, like, as a kid. He's like, that's a direct rip.
Right.
He's like, mannerisms, everything from start to finish. All they did was rip it off, right? And then they ripped off their rip-off like 4 times.
There's a weird Scooby-Doo revival kind of going on certain parts of the internet. It's odd, man. So
Well, they had that that god-awful Velma show.
I never watched it.
yeah, I don't know
On
if that's what's
HBO
driving.
Max.
I think it was
Yeah.
more so the movie a couple years ago that had a couple people in it. I can't remember. It was the movie though that
I know it was out, but I can't remember a thing.
yeah, Thelma got canceled, didn't it? Quickly.
No, okay, so it had dog shit ratings, but they approved it for another season.
And then it didn't make a third one.
Well, the second season's not out.
Oh, okay.
Look, the thing is universally reviled.
Well,
okay?
yeah, and like Netflix isn't exactly raking in the cash that it used to. They're getting pickier about their
Well,
shit.
that was actually on the HBO Max.
Oh, I thought it was Netflix. Okay.
No,
Yeah, you're right. It was Max.
yeah, it was on Max, and again, everybody knew it was total dog shit, and it's
Well, it's Minnie Kaling production. What do you
and
expect?
that's why it's coming back. It's basically this is a
Oh yeah, South Asians.
no,
So,
it's fine.
You gotta get some more diversity in Hollywood.
Dude, all right. I'll know this, okay? All right. I'm just the whole South Asian thing is like, stop treating this like this is a group that's
It's Indians. There's only one.
yeah.
There's a group there. They all live in the same spot.
They do, and look, I constantly. I mean, I work on these files all the time. Look, they're fine. They're fine in the
Yeah.
culture. They're not hurting for representation. Why do I see them all the time? Because they're all fucking doctors.
They make way more fucking movies than anybody else in the world, too. Yeah,
so-
people just don't. I mean, they're unwatchable. So-
Well, I'm sorry, man. There's just a version of like it's not for us.
No, it's not for. It's just like daytime TV. It's like soap operas. I can't watch those either.
No.
They're not for me.
I don't
They
think
have-
I've ever watched one.
I've watched a couple.
watched
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
watched
get
a few.
musical real fast. So
Really?
oh yeah, at
Every
least
single
the-
one.
Yeah, at least
Really, it's a requirement. Like, no, just think about it like this. So there's even your most serious like drama. Okay, like this is if I were to put out a movie that was all about like a 10-year-old with cancer. Okay, still a song and dance number will be in there.
Wow.
That is just the cultural expectation of the movie. You do that.
Yeah, you do that. So it's
Yep,
like
I
having an
definitely
end
have
credit
not
scene.
watched
now. So-
No, it is bizarre. And again, it's something hard to take seriously because, all right, you guys like this.
Mhm.
I don't have to like this.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my society's good enough to. There's occasionally some blending of musical with normal movie. Normally, I'll walk away from that because fuck you, right? But we have the good decency to say, is this a musical or is it an actual movie?
Right.
Right? Because if you're going to go see Les Miserables, you do that. If you're going to go see Chicago, you're going to do that.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into.
But I don't want that in my Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right. I want less producers. Yeah. Actually, more horror and less little shop of. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If you get Little
right,
Shop,
okay.
it's Little Shop.
It is.
It is. That's a musical.
It is a
right?
musical with the giant rubber plant.
It is the most amazingly styled rubber plant
is.
I
in history.
wonder if my kids will ever watch that.
They
Little
do
Shop.
a lot of that. Like, you'd be surprised how common that is for like high schools to put on now. So yeah, you can buy one of them fucking plants, or you can find like plans. So for them,
Because it is hard enough to get them to watch anything that
Isn't
I
it?
watched from back at all.
Would your kids even be interested in like Fraggle Rock or
I don't even think I'm interested in Fraggle Rock anymore. I watched some of it not too long ago. It was kind of like
But was it at least just like a fun watch for a second just to remember?
it was, but I'd rather watch Thundercats or something from back then.
okay.
You know, so like, and I did try. There's a YouTube channel out there that streams Transformers 24/7. The old cartoons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I can't
Some are
even.
pretty.
They are, and some of them are very bad.
Bro,
So,
I gotta tell
yeah.
you, like, so you're talking about a person who knows the lore inside and out
Mhm.
of those first. Hey, I'm gonna go the 4 seasons.
Okay.
Okay. There's like 150 episodes total.
There's a lot.
I would say 20 of them are good.
Oh.
I would say that 10 of them are fantastic. But that is a bad ratio.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's another channel that does G.I. Joe too, man.
And I put the ratio of that even worse.
I would agree. Yeah, just based off the small sampling that I did watch, it was kind of like I can't. This is ruining parts of my childhood for me. But then I watched the movie and it was pretty good. So
Movie is fine.
Yeah, the movie's
absolutely fine. Both their movies are absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, yeah, because the other thing that kills G.I. Joe is they had continuation of their series by a different studio after the movie came out. These were the ones that were made by Deke. Right?
yeah,
And they
remember that Deke?
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, because you'd also hear that after, Inspector Gadget. So
Right.
think
Man, I gotta go back and watch some of those.
about the same studio doing Inspector Gadget,
Mm.
and now they're doing what should be a serious show of G.I. Joe. And it's kind of wacky.
Oh man, I forgot about Inspector Gadget. So I'm gonna have to go watch some of those.
Not bad.
I used to watch that every morning before we went to school. Every fucking morning. So it was on at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And you sit there and eat your Fruity Pebbles or whatever and watch Inspector
I
Gadget
ate
every fucking day.
Tailspin, I thought.
Well, it depends on what
That's a little bit
time
later.
period.
Yeah.
We had a couple of different periods where like the show that it was basically the last show that you could watch before you had to leave for school.
Yeah, that
Rescue
was.
Rangers was another one in the morning.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember those in the afternoon. So.
So yeah, it must be later because then they
Yeah.
got moved to the morning or something.
Yeah, I remember morning you had like you had maybe 2 cartoons you could watch because otherwise you're getting up at like 6. So
Well, I know that eventually Ghostbusters got moved to mornings.
oh yeah,
And you'd catch an episode of that before you went to school.
remember Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, it had a weird mix of, like, genuinely terrifying, and then the rest of it was just like, stop wasting
Stop wasting my time.
Um,
I always liked Egon's fucking tube. You know?
yeah,
Which then you say it's the most annoying part of that movie, but it was the one thing that absolutely endeared me to who was it? In The Fifth Element, the black guy. What?
Chris
Oh,
Tucker.
Chris Tucker. Thank you.
oh,
He's got the Egon, man. I loved it. Loved it. So,
because that's you're going way beyond Pompadour at that point.
oh
That's-
yeah, no.
yeah. I don't know how they came up with that design based off of.
Well, none of them were based off the guys in the actual movie. So
They were at first.
their actual physical drawings weren't. So
Well, actually, no. So here's
Really?
the weird thing about this is
I thought that they tried to do that, and then the guys who actually were just like Harold, what is it, Ramis?
Yeah.
was like emphatically no. So
check this weird shit out.
okay,
Okay.
so if you know the story, I'd like
This is some lore that goes deep. You're gonna like this.
Okay.
Okay. So the original design on this, okay, was actually much closer to the actual character models. Okay. And they were gonna get look-alike and sound-alikes, right?
Okay.
They ended up playing fast and loose with that a little bit after the second revision because they didn't like those designs. But as the actual
studio
actors,
that was producing the cartoon, or the guys
actor.
who actually did the movie? Okay,
the actors didn't like the designs, so they actually strayed from it. And to make that point clear, this is what's fascinating, okay? If you watch the first episode of that show,
I can't even place it.
okay,
So,
here's the thing, is the first episode of the cartoon, okay, they play it out as though those characters in the cartoon are the actual characters, and the movie is a story made about them.
that's an interesting twist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, because in the first thing, because you know that they have the slightly different uniforms than they did in the show,
Yeah. Yeah.
totally different colors.
Well, all four of them have different color.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's the weird thing: is in the original one, they all come in the browns. Okay, and they get rid of those, the ones that from there because they have like some kind of ghost shit on them, and then
marshmallow mush.
Yes, yeah, that is where it starts. They have marshmallow crap on.
Okay.
And they are basically disowning it and saying, no, actually, the movie is a movie made about them.
Oh, okay.
Because,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, because Janine kind of looked the same. So, but
Sort of.
yeah, I mean, she was probably the closest out of them.
Well, I
So-
would say Winston.
Yeah,
is,
okay,
but
he was pretty close,
that's-
but he was a lot younger in the cartoon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like maybe Vakeman a little bit. He's got too much hair. He's too young. So
Yes, and
Yeah.
the original, I did
and Ray
see
is yeah, he's not that fat. He never was. Dan Aykroyd was never that fat.
But if I'll try and find it. But yeah, the original,
That'll
like,
be interesting.
the original specs of, like, the genuine, like, Bill Murray, the Peter Venkman, before, it's funny, because I'm like, I know who you are in this show.
Yeah, sure.
Right? But I think they make a joke about it in the movie, like, he's like a game show host.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think that's
You're
the
right,
joke.
yeah, that
and,
was the joke.
And the original drawing of that was kind of Bill Murray-ish, which
yeah.
versus the new one who looked kind of like, I don't want to say hipstery, but just like,
Back then, I guess if you had a
Yeah.
hipster, he would be the closest thing to it.
yeah. And then
So,
the other shows that were on in the morning were, that I can remember, are Gummy Bears eventually made it to mornings.
see,
I thought it was just
I
Saturday.
distinctly remember that one being on the afternoon. It might have been Smurfs that was on the morning too.
I watched Darkwing Duck eventually.
In the
Yeah.
mornings?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That was
Eventually,
Eventually.
so the new Disney stuff came to afternoons. Older
Yeah.
Disney stuff got kicked to
Okay.
mornings, right? I remember, so on Saturday mornings they had like the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I'm not going to talk about that, but
I love that show.
that show was fantastic.
I love that show so
yeah,
much,
love
man.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's hard to find him on YouTube. You can find a couple like clips and stuff. And I was like, oh fuck, I remember that, man, because I remember watching that show every fucking day.
I don't think there's any
So-
modern incarnation that can catch that same kind of
No.
like laid back feel to it. But
It was so laid back.
and then the other morning shows like Thundercats eventually made it to mornings. Yep.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember a show called Cops.
Oh yeah, I had a
Cops was
bunch
on
of
in
the
the morning.
toys.
Yep. Cops was on in the morning. Centurions was on in the morning.
I remember that one. I remember that one eventually getting kicked to Saturday morning. So, on the
Well, I think it would have started on Saturday mornings and
Maybe.
eventually made it to regular mornings.
I remember that one distinctly being like in the USA Family lineup. So
Oh, the Cartoon Express.
Cartoon Express, there we
That's
go,
a
yeah.
different story. That is.
and that, I mean, but they would let anybody on that train, man. So that's where you got like fucking weird shit from that they dug up from the '70s, like Cool Cat and stuff. You know.
Well, any and all things related to the Laugh Olympics were
Oh my god! I
Absolutely,
hated
yeah.
that so much.
the
It was
Laugh
like,
Olympics.
how many times can we see Snidely cheat? So,
Well, they would win every now and then.
They
to
would
their
win
credit.
every now and then,
And the same
yeah.
thing goes with that's all that fucking Hanna-Barbera fucking pipeline of like, oh, we have Olympics. Why don't we also do wacky races? Why don't we?
I definitely remember the races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
Who had
I
the
don't know.
coffin car? Who was that? Somebody had
Don't
one.
remember-
Yeah.
I know what it looks like, but yeah,
they
it
had
was
a
the
coffin
same
car. So
same goddamn
Snidely had that
show,
purple
man.
roadster
Yes,
with all the fucking,
yes,
you know,
I know.
industrial
Caveman
Captain
had it.
Caveman, his log, with the fucking two ends on it. Yeah, it was directly ripped off from Barney Rubble. So, yeah.
Yeah, Captain Caveman son.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, KV Junior.
Was he junior? I just
Captain Cave Kid.
I just remember. I think at the end of the episode, he would yell out Captain Caveman, and then this boy would say, "And son."
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. He could actually talk. Yeah.
because there was a series-
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not even gonna talk about the shit that was like the Herculoids and
Oh, that's the show that I remember being on the Cartoon Express. Come to think of it.
it was there all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't watch those in the morning because we always watched on the TV in
Yep.
this room, and it did not have cable.
Nope.
Oh.
We
Nope.
only had the 3 channels, 4 channels, 4.
Well, yeah, we didn't have cable for ages either.
We
So
had cable
We
in
had
the
cable,
other TV,
but not.
we did not.
over
it's not
here.
this one.
We did not have cable until quite a while. So, and then you had the box with the dial on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you had the 35, the utility channel.
Well, if I'm not wrong, I feel like we also got Denver's 2 on that channel, but I don't think that was a local channel.
That's where Blinky the Clown would show up. Or what was his name?
Was it? I know what you want to say.
Garfield.
I know you want to say
That's
Blinky.
Binky. Yeah,
Oh.
that's Binky.
It's not. It was it Bozo?
Falls of the Clown. Might have been.
This guy was actually local in Denver.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, no, you know what? Bozo was WGN.
yeah,
that guy was Chicago.
This was a
yeah.
different guy. He was
But I
local
know
in
exactly what
Denver,
you're
and he
talking
had
about, yeah.
the fucking hobo face.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he was on Channel 2 every morning.
And I can't remember exactly when that happened, but there was cartoons eventually started losing their spot to Kenneth Copeland and the 700 Club, and we were pissed.
That show had been on for decades.
We
So,
were pissed.
yeah.
We lost our cartoons.
I actually saw an article about the death of Saturday morning cartoons.
Really?
And
What?
they switched the laws that said they had to become more educational. In
In the
and-
80s?
Oh
at
no,
a
this was
certain point-
later.
yeah. So that's when it started. One station did it first, and then the rest of them.
Yeah, this is when
Killed it.
PBS started producing all their own cartoons, and
Yeah,
they're
so-
like Math Olymp.
and
Or
then,
there
then
was
you
there
started
was
getting.
one-
They said
yeah.
it's Saved by the Bell and different things. It became teen entertainment
Yeah.
versus the kids stuff because
Got
they
it.
said it had to have some sort of educational value. to
Yeah,
it.
I smell Republicans.
They would not be responsible for that shit now.
No, not now, but back in the 80s or the 90s, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So,
Well, it's funny
like
because-
you get that, you get your MSRP rating.
Bro, the
Nice
funny
guys.
thing is, it's just the decade before. They were the ones that actually rolled that back because if you had the misfortune of suffering through 70s cartoons,
Yeah, I just talked about that.
the reason that in the 80s it takes a big shift was they made that's when they changed the laws that said basically kids cartoons can be
But the Republicans were in control of Congress in the 80s.
well, but you have to
Yeah.
well, no, not for a significant part of it.
No, not until 80, almost the last 2 years of the Reagan.
Yeah.
No, it's Tip O'Neill days, man.
Yeah, the rollback was that you basically could not have kids cartoons.
They didn't take it back until Newt Gingrich.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it could not. Your cartoons could not be commercials,
I do remember that. I do remember
which
that.
is why as soon as those wheels came off, that is when GoBots, Transformers,
Everybody.
Masters of the Universe, everything
G.I.
that
Joe,
could be
yeah.
then the girl
Ghostbusters
side.
is all about toys.
Yeah, the girl side, like My Little Pony was a
Strawberry
juggernaut.
Shortcake.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So I had a shitload of Smurfs. So
We had Smurfs too. We even
Smurfs
had
and
the old
glowworms. Yeah.
Yep. Glowworms, the loser side of My Little Pony, if I recall, wasn't its own
I
show.
don't remember.
And then, yeah, so that's what actually kicked off the
I can't remember. I just remember the glowworms actually did glow pretty radiantly
Well,
in the yard for about a week. And then you realize, yeah, exactly. So you gotta shine your flashlight on and recharge it. So it's like, no, it's been irradiated.
So the last thing before I shut this thing out because we were going wild. Like,
Oh, my bad.
no, it's fine. I should have paid attention too. How far you were playing?
I don't do the story anymore. I built a fucking battleship and I go around and kick ass. So
Okay.
it cost me about like $300,000.
Yeah.
So, but eventually you unlock the Class C stuff if you up your piloting to level 4, and then I discovered the shipbuilding thing, and I've been doing that for the
It
last
makes
4
sense
years.
now.
It makes perfect sense.
It was terrible at first. But...
And so yeah, now I cruise around the galaxy and look for victims at the moment.
That's what you would.
So
Okay.
yeah, because I completely gave up on base building and all that stuff because it was like, you know what, it's way more fun just to steal it from other people. So,
Yeah. The other thing I was like, why would I build this stuff if I just need stuff? I go to a vendor.
so it's sometimes nice if you get a gun that you want to put something specific on. So
No, I mean the resources.
oh yeah, they're dirt cheap. So yeah, and then it's not like, yeah, I mean, so I solved all my cargo problems by building a warship. So, and then it was just like, I don't pick up rocks anymore. I don't need to.
No.
Yeah, you can go buy all the shit you need. So, the hard thing was finding the shipyards that actually sell the big fucking ship pieces. And then it was like, because I captured this one ship and I was like, what is this? So it was one of them Varun ships. So those snake people. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So they had landed a ship near me where I was actually out there breaking rocks, and I was like, "Oh, let me go check this out." And then just murdered all of them really quickly because there are some guns in that game that are very OP, very OP.
We'll discuss this
Yeah.
a little bit, but I was gonna say like that opened up for me when you finish the Rangers mission.
I didn't.
They give you a
Yeah.
starship that outclasses
Really.
goddamn near everything.
Oh, see, I built one that was pretty good because I was like, wait a minute, there's no limit to how many weapons I can put on this thing as long as it doesn't max this thing out.
Yeah.
So, and as long as you have the power in order to be able to do it.
But you have to be able to buy the right kind of grav drive, and you have to be
You
able to. Yeah. So there are.
But you can make a pretty badass class A ship just with the fucking Nasha stuff. And so I did that mission where so I met the aliens, kind of guys or whatever they're supposed to be, the Starborn. And they're like, oh, our ship's going to kick your ass. And Walter's like, run away. I'm like, fuck that. So, and just murdered their ship.
Did you blow it up?
It won't let you blow it up.
Oh.
So, but I was about to. I was like, I ain't afraid of you guys. So, and then it's just like roasted all the way down, and then it jumps away. At that moment, I was like, "Come back here!" So come on, man. Yeah, this is my fucking artifact. So, and then I started to realize I was like, "Wait a minute, that was supposed to be hard."
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, so
This is pointless.
Yeah, let me go back to that job board where it wants me to murder pirates, and then I started doing that." So, I didn't even sign up with the law guys. I was just like, yeah, it's okay. I'm just an independent contractor.
So you have gone into space sim at this point.
I have gone what?
You're going into the space sim at this point.
The space sim is now my favorite part of the game.
Okay.
So it used to be the gunplay, now it is the space sim. And so, like, targeting somebody's fucking shields and then just boarding them, and then going through there with the shotgun that I found that will wreck anything. So, and I just kill all the guys, and then, I got my crew on my ship, and I was like, all right, meet you back at base. So, and go part it out,
But you have to go so far down some of those trees to actually do the meaningful mods.
Yeah, but it's not that many. So, like, what I found is, like, except for piloting, all the other, like, ship things are bullshit. You don't need them. Piloting, you just need to unlock to get to so you can fly the C-class ships. But then there's only one other thing you need, and that's like ship design.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't take that long to upload to get that one beefed up. And the same thing with pilot, it doesn't take that one to be if you're out there hunting pirates. So
All right, you and I are going to
yeah, all
dinner,
right,
so
man, yeah,
it's-
no, yeah, sorry, we gotta go to bed. Sorry, Will. So but it's the game that I'm gonna be playing for a while, man. As soon as I started discovering some things in there, I was like, this game is too fucking big to actually try and do everything. So you gotta kind of pick what you want to do, and so
You have to make that part of your personality.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm Battlestar Galactica. I roll, on my own out there with this enormous battleship. I don't even chase guys down, man. So
You let them come to you.
yeah, they'll come to you and they just beep, 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 and they get these turrets on it that'll track it. Shit, it's not even funny, man. So I was like, this is so broke. But anyway, all right.
All right.
That was a long episode. I'm Pat.
I'm Will.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm gonna go pirate.